So, how life began on Earth. Let's look at some of the ideas that scientists have about this. Okay, what is life? Life is all around us. We are life. Plants, animals, and even tiny bugs are life. How about a rock? How about a pizza? How about a book? No. No. Non-living, right? But how did life start on Earth? Things like rabbits and elephants and tigers and bears and butterflies and trees and cactus and bugs and bacteria and germs. How did they get here? Well, scientists think that there were four very important things, and they are called carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen. Oxygen is what we breathe. So these are called elements, tiny, tiny things, smaller than cells. We have to use the microscope with these. Even with the microscopes that we would have, we would not be able to see these things, elements. So without these four things, life would not exist. So there was this guy, his name was Charles Darwin, and he had an idea. He studied and he studied and he looked and observed all these animals and all these places and all these things, and he thought to himself, I think that life started in a pond. He said that the sun warmed the pond up, and then lightning struck the pond, and it released these elements. Remember the elements? These very tiny, tiny things like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, out of the rocks, out of the water, and out of the air. And it set them free. And that was when they connected together. And when they connected together, they were able to start making life. Now that was one idea. Other scientists observed and studied and studied and studied, and they explained with an explanation something different. Another scientist said that life came from an ocean heat vent. Deep in the ocean, there are hot spots that come from volcanoes that are deep within the ground. And they also release these elements that came together, according to the scientists that believe in this, that life came from the ocean. Other scientists say, hey, it came from outer space. On an asteroid, it took a ride in outer space and hit the planet Earth, and out came these elements. Now, a dinosaur didn't pop out, a fish didn't pop out, but just the elements popped out. So that's another cool idea. Another idea is a hot spring, which is kind of like the ocean vent. It's warm water. The pond is warm water. So the asteroid's the only one that's kind of different. And now we're going to talk about how life changed. We don't know exactly how life began, but scientists say life changed over time. This change is called evolution. Evolution helps plants and animals survive, adapt to change. So, if an animal is to survive, like a snow fox, it lives in the snow. How can it hide in the snow? Well, over time, it turned white to hide from the predator so it wouldn't get eaten. Can you think of other examples of evolution? How have humans changed over time? Here's an example. It's called the pepper moth. The pepper moth used to be white. You can see in this first picture here. Let me see if You can see right here. See how it's white? Let's get rid of this. It was easy for predators to see on a dark tree. Over time, the moss turned black to hide. See? If the trees had been white, they wouldn't have had to change, huh? But because the trees were black, over time, they changed to black. So, well, let's see. So it turns out that the reason the trees turn black is because of air pollution. So that's interesting. But then the trees, or the air I should say, the air wasn't so dirty anymore. It started to go back and be clean. So the trees could turn back to their original color. Okay, so they could start being a little bit different, huh? So, I'm not sure if I can make this the right color, but they blended in with the lighter trees. So the trees started to get lighter, so they could blend in a little bit more. You could see they didn't really need to be black anymore because the tree wasn't so black anymore. Okay, so that shows how they went from white to black and then to another color. That's adapting. Okay, adaptation. Okay, so that's the end of this slideshow, and we'll do some more. And again, this is some new vocabulary, and it is talking about how life began on Earth. Okay, see you later, alligators.